you are having crazy food cravings because you're in the habit of sliding into your unconscious mind. When you become more mindful, you become empowered to eliminate crazy food cravings. So in order for you to get beyond the crazy food cravings, align with your health and fitness goals, it's essential that you learn to practice mindfulness around food and the way you're feeding yourself. Hi, I'm Maria LiPuma, the creator of the Body Confidence Solution, where I help health-conscious women release excess weight naturally, enjoy food freedom, and step into their lives with more confidence and esteem. And today I'm sharing some important practices that are going to enable you to become more mindful around food and the way you feed yourself so that you do not slip into unconsciousness and succumb to crazy food cravings. In a country with an abundance of food, we have so much struggle and unhappiness around food and eating. And I've spent the greater part of my life being in that struggle, eating unconsciously, eating mindlessly, succumbing to crazy food cravings. And it left me frustrated, upset with myself. And even though I was overeating, I wasn't feeling satisfied and gratified from the food I was actually eating. You might relate to mindless eating and unconscious eating. Maybe you've been doing it for some time now and thinking that you're a hopeless case, that maybe you can't get over it. How can you be more mindful around food? There's so much angst, there's so much uncomfortability around food and feeding yourself. Well, the good news is that you can turn this around. And today I'm sharing with you some important things that you need to know so that you can become more mindful around food, eliminate crazy food cravings, feel satisfied and gratified when you eat, and get on with your life. Mindfulness is the practice of being aware, being present and aware of our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations within ourselves and outside of ourselves. And to become more mindful around food means to have an awareness of what you're actually feeling, what your thoughts are, what the sensations are, to get present to what's coming up for you in the moment. And I know that so many of you have angst around food. We have so much information. We have all of this information that's confusing. And so we come to the dinner table or the lunch table or to any meal with all kinds of conflicting feelings and emotions. We might feel guilty about eating a certain food, or we might feel worried that there's not enough food for us, or we might feel like, is this the perfect food for us to be eating? And all of that creates a lot of angst, a lot of stress around sitting down to a meal. So acknowledging that stress, noticing that stress, being aware of it, and then eliminating the stress as you are going to eat, as you're eating, is going to be an essential element to helping you to be more nourished physiologically and more nourished emotionally. So, as I shared before, a lot of times we have a lot of information about food. And if you've been on diets, maybe you've had conflicting thoughts about it's good to eat this, it's not good to eat that, this is the healthiest thing to eat, this is not healthy. And almost every year something new comes out about the same food. And so it's definitely a conflict. And when we sit down at the table and we have worry and stress about, are we eating the right thing, or feeling guilty and shame about even eating, it affects our physiology. Stress talk, stress thoughts affect how we digest our food. So if you are stressing while you're eating, you're not going to be getting nourished. You're not going to get the optimum nutrition from the nutrients that you are taking into your body. And what happens is when you're eating in an environment of stress, you will start eliminating all the nutrients in your body through the urine. And so you come away from the meal not getting nourished. The cells of your body are not getting nourished. You're not getting the sustenance from the food. Even if it's the highest quality food that you're eating, you're not getting the sustenance from it. And then on top of it, if you are emotionally stressed about what you're eating, and you are feeling guilty or ashamed and not allowing yourself the pleasure of eating, you're not feeling emotionally gratified from the experience. And eating should be a pleasurable experience. It's a gratifying experience because it's not only to fulfill our dietary needs so that we have energy to move through the world, but it's also a form of communion. It's a form of satisfaction and pleasure and gratification. And that's something that we need as human beings, to be gratified with the food that we're taking in. And a lot of times when we don't allow ourselves to get that gratification and that pleasure from the eating experience, we're still wanting it. We're still hungering for it. And that's why we end up overeating, because we're looking to feel satisfied, both physically and emotionally satisfied. So when you start to become more mindful around how you're feeling when you're sitting down at the meal, and you can start to release some of the feelings, thoughts, and emotions that are not serving you at the table, then you can start to set an intention and come to it with an environment of perfect nourishment that's going to not only help your body to be well nourished, but your emotional body, your pleasure, your satisfaction, all of those necessary things to feel truly gratified from the meal. So you want to come to the meal with less stress. And there's some simple things that you can do to start to de-stress yourself so that you can calm down your body, calm down your mind, and get more present to the meal. So another aspect of mindfulness is something called non-judgmental awareness. So non-judgmental awareness means to notice your thoughts, your feelings, the sensations without a judgment. And as you start to practice mindfulness, you'll get better at it. Initially, it's hard for us to not judge it. We observe our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and we tell ourselves we shouldn't be feeling a certain way, or we don't even allow ourselves sometimes to be honest with how we're feeling because we don't feel like it's okay to feel. The truth is, our feelings are not necessarily facts. Our feelings are connected to our perspective, and they're usually an outgrowth of our beliefs. So sometimes we have beliefs that serve us, and sometimes we have beliefs that don't serve us. If we have a belief that we're eating a certain food and it's going to make us fat, and we have anxiety about getting fat, then we're going to have a feeling of anxiety when we're eating the food. And this may not be totally conscious initially, but even if it's not conscious, it's unconscious, it's actually creating the stress when you're eating the food. So the first step of mindfulness is to become aware of the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions that show up for you when you sit down. But if you have a very busy mind or you're very stressed, it's hard to get the awareness, it's hard to get the presence of mind because you are too stressed. When we're stressed, our body is in a fight, flight, freeze response, reaction, and that means we're not there to contemplate and think, we're there to get moving and run. So again, finding ways to de-stress yourself when you sit down at the meal, and it can happen with just the breath. The breath is your friend. Your breath is a great tool to calm you down because the breath can actually activate the parasympathetic response in your body, which is the relaxation and digest response in the body, which is optimal for eating. So if you're comfortable with other people around, you can also just put a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly. Take a nice deep breath in and let it go. And do that again. Take another deep breath in. And on the exhalation, just let yourself relax and let go. And again, breathing in. And letting go. And taking a few breaths will calm you down. And when from that place of more of a calm body and mind, you'll have more awareness of how you're feeling around the food you're about to take in. So if you're having negative feelings about the food that you're going to take in, like fear or worry or anxiety, then you want to do one of two things. Either you don't want to eat the food because it's making you feel too anxious to eat it, or you want to change your perspective of the food. And the second one is the one I like to do, because I do believe that any food that we take into our body can be nourishing. Of course, not to the extreme that of something that's, like poisonous or something like that. But I'm saying the general food that we choose to eat, if we believe that it's healing us, that it's nourishing us, that will go a long way in how our body embraces it and accepts it. So take another deep breath in and let it go. And if you're at a table with other people and you're not comfortable putting your hand on your heart and your belly, you can simply just put your hands down and take a mindful breath, aware of the sensation of the breath coming into your body and allowing yourself to relax on each exhalation. And that will start to cultivate more mindfulness and more awareness of the food that you're about to take in. If you have negative feelings or thoughts about the food that you're about to take in, you want to change that perspective. After you've calmed yourself down a little bit, notice what thoughts are coming up for you. Notice what feelings are coming up for you around the food. I like to set the intention, once I've de-stressed myself and gotten calm around the food, I like to set the intention that everything I eat is nourishing my body. It's enhancing my health. It's keeping me slim and healthy. So setting an intention, start to tell yourself, make that statement within yourself or say it out loud. Everything I eat is nourishing my body. It keeps me slim, healthy, and vibrant. Or anything like that resonates with you is a great little mantra to use before you take in the food. Setting an intention, de-stressing, setting the intention. But before you even get to that, you might even want to bless your food or thank your food or be grateful for the food. Gratitude is a wonderful energy. It raises how you feel. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel more appreciative. And that will also create a great environment for optimal nourishment. So some gratitude for the person who cooked your food, gratitude for the people who grew it. Wherever you want to go with that, many traditions bless the food because food is energy and we're taking this energy into our body. And here in this country, many of us are very blessed to have an abundance of food. So you want to be grateful for the food that you do have and grateful that you're able to sit down at a meal and eat the food. So cultivating a practice of gratitude and thankfulness for the food is going to not only help the food to be more nourishing, but you will also feel more nourished as you're eating. So those are the two things to start a meal: some pause, some relaxation, some de-stressing, and then setting the intention that everything I eat is nourishing my body and enabling me to be slim, happy, and free, and setting that intention. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to be mindful of the eating experience, which means slowing down. And you might be in the habit of eating quickly. I know this has been one of my challenges probably my whole life, is it's easy for me to eat very quickly. And it's gotten better over the years because I've been more intentional about it. And sometimes I even use chopsticks to eat my meal because I wasn't brought up using chopsticks, so it takes me longer to eat the meal with chopsticks. So you might want to do something like that. Find ways where you can slow down the meal, because if you slow down the meal and you actually allow yourself to taste the food that you're eating, enjoy it, savor it, you will be satisfying not only your physiology, but you will also be feeling the pleasure and enjoyment of the food. Really allow the food to linger in your mouth and taste it rather than scoffing it down. A lot of times when we're, working on the computer or we're reading a book or we're engaged in an intense conversation, we miss the meal. And when you miss the meal because you haven't been present to it, you're going to still be hungry for the meal. So making time to pause around your meal, slowing down the meal. And you might want to start with this one meal at a time and maybe even set a timer for yourself with the intention of slowing down the meal. So this is a practice that you can cultivate over time. And as you do this, and every day with the breath and the pause for at least one meal, you will feel much freer. By the end of 3 weeks, you're going to feel a lot less called to crazy food cravings. You're going to be more mindful and aware of what you are putting into your body and coming from a place of choice. So, de-stressing yourself, setting an intention, blessing your food, and pausing throughout the meal are wonderful ways for you to become more present to the food that you're taking in, to the experience of eating. The more you can savor it, the more you can enjoy it, the more pleasure it brings to you. And the other thing aside from that is that sometimes we feel guilty about having pleasure. So you want to give yourself permission to experience the pleasure from the food because it is a human requirement. And so that's one of the emotions that you may want to release and let go of. Because as you are feeling into how or breathing into how you're feeling and noticing the thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you can actually allow those emotions to flow like a leaf in the wind. You don't have to catch on to them. You don't have to make them become dramatic around the emotions and the feelings. You can let the feelings go. And that's another aspect of mindfulness. It's a non-judgment awareness of your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions. So notice if you're feeling guilty or you're feeling like you shouldn't. Whatever it is that comes up for you, start with the awareness. Once you have the awareness, you want to release all of the negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and then set a positive intention for the meal. I'm worthy of enjoying this wonderful food. I'm grateful that I have this wonderful food. And you might want to start to do this when you're having a meal by yourself, unless you have a partner or a friend who wants to do this practice with you. But you might feel self-conscious about doing this with other people at first. So practicing this with a meal or a snack on your own will be a great way to start to put this into practice for yourself. So those are the tips that I'm offering you today. And I know that if you start practicing these today, within the next few weeks, you are going to be less likely to succumb to crazy food cravings. And as you cultivate more and more mindfulness around the food, your body, your mind, and your spirit are going to be well nourished. And you can not feel like you have to give in to foods that do not align with your health and fitness goals. So, I do want to share with you, if you have an issue with emotional eating, and a lot of times when we have mindless eating, it is connected to emotional eating. I want to give you my free ebook, 3 Essential Steps to Stop Emotional Eating. So there's a link below. You can click that on and go ahead and get that ebook. It's going to help you to bring more mindfulness into your eating behaviors and allow you to stop emotional eating. In addition to that, I want to hear from you what you're going to do today out of the practices that I just shared. Which of these are you going to start applying today? If you like content like this, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and please share this with anyone that you know that could use this information. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to the next time. Bye now.